Forget the lie about finding peace. The obsession with being calm is a tranquilizer injected into your spine by a hierarchy that demands obedient workers. This audio is not a prescription for wellness. It is an instruction manual for psychological warfare against your own biology. In the 1960s, researchers isolated a specific cognitive override used by elite performers, snipers, surgeons, and psychopaths. They found that the biological difference between a victim frozen in panic and a predator locked in focus is zero. The difference is a single, invisible mental switch. This data was sanitized for the public, diluted into useless advice about deep breathing, while the core mechanic was kept for the few who actually run the world. This protocol hijacks the adrenaline flooding your veins. Instead of trying to dampen the electrical surge, you will learn to reroute it directly into your motor cortex. The shaking does not stop, it calibrates. The nausea transforms into a hunger for impact. You will not feel better. You will feel lethal. The system wants you sedated. We are about to cut the brake lines. Once you realize your anxiety is just raw power without a name, you will never want to be calm again. Chapter 1. The lie about anxiety. You were trained to panic about your own panic. The moment your heart starts to pound, your chest tightens, your hands shake. Your brain does not just say, "I feel something." It says, "There is something wrong with me. I am weak. I am not ready. I am going to fail." That second layer is the real problem. Not the racing heart, not the sweaty palms, but the story you attach to them. From school, from parents, from public humiliation, you learned that being nervous means you are not good enough. You see the kid who speaks calmly in class, and you think they are naturally confident. You feel your throat close before speaking, and you decide you are broken. No one told you that your body is doing exactly what it is designed to do before anything important. Turn the system on. Your sympathetic nervous system is not your enemy. It is the part of you that takes over when something matters. It raises your heart rate to push more blood to your muscles and brain. It releases adrenaline so you can react faster and think sharper. Your breathing becomes quicker so more oxygen gets in. Blood flow shifts away from digestion toward action. This same system fires whether you are about to step on stage, step into an exam, kiss someone for the first time, or get on a roller coaster. The body does not have a special heart rate for fear and a separate heart rate for excitement. It has arousal, activation, a power surge. But since no one trained you to interpret that surge as power, you learn to call it a flaw. Psychologists have a name for the mistake you keep making: arousal misinterpretation. The body sends a signal. Something important is happening. Get ready. The mind jumps in and slaps a label on it. This is danger. This is panic. This means I cannot handle this. The same pounding heart could mean I am about to embarrass myself, or it could mean I am about to perform. The same shaking hands could mean I am losing control, or it could mean my system is loading extra energy. The signal is neutral. Your story makes it poison or fuel. Most people never question that story. They think anxiety is proof of a defect instead of proof that they care about the outcome. In classic research, psychologists Stanley Schachter and Jerome Singer showed how fragile and fake emotion labels can be. They gave people an injection that caused physical arousal, heart racing, shaky feeling, jittery energy. Then they changed the story around that arousal. Some people were put in a room with someone acting angry. Others were put in a room with someone acting playful and happy. Nothing in their bodies changed between those rooms. What changed was the explanation they were given by the situation. People started to label the same physical state as anger in one case and as happiness in another. Same heart rate, same adrenaline, completely different emotion on the mental side. Their conclusion was simple and dangerous. Emotion is not just what your body feels. It is what your brain decides that feeling means. You live inside that same trick every day, but no one called it out for you. Your body ramps up before a presentation, and you decide it means I am not ready. Your body ramps up before a date, and you decide it means I am awkward and socially broken. Your body ramps up before a confrontation, and you decide it means I should stay quiet and keep the peace. The system around you benefits from that. Schools prefer students who sit still, do not challenge the teacher, do not raise their hands out of line. Companies like employees who do not push back in meetings. Families and partners like people who do not escalate conflict. So you were rewarded when you shrank in response to that activation, and punished when you used it to step out of line. Over time, your nervous system learned a rule. When I feel this surge, I must stop. The dark part is this: nothing in your biology demands that rule. It was installed. You can see how artificial it is by watching extreme performers. Fighters in a ring, soldiers in training, top salespeople before a call, actors before a live show. They are not calm. Their heart rates are through the roof. Their hands shake. Their pupils are blown wide. If you felt what they feel, you would call it a panic attack and try to escape. They call it getting ready. The same system you treat as a disorder is the system they treat as a weapon. They were trained to interpret the surge as a signal that they are entering the arena, not that they are about to die. You were taught to think that the absence of anxiety is the sign of competence, that if you feel nervous, it means you are not cut out for this. That story keeps you exactly where you are. It makes you hand over power the second your biology wakes up. You give up speaking opportunities, leadership roles, confrontations you should have, chances to show what you can do, all because your heart did what hearts do under pressure. The hierarchy above you does not correct this misunderstanding, because your self-sabotage keeps you non-threatening. You take yourself off the board before they ever have to. Your sensations are not a diagnosis. They are raw data. Raised heart rate, tight chest, shaky voice, sweaty palms. That is all. Your mind is the one screaming, "This means I am a fraud," or "This means I am in danger." That label is optional. The fact that it feels automatic does not mean it is true. It means it has been repeated enough times to run on its own. You created a personal rule without knowing it. If I feel anxious, I must back away. The first step out of that prison is to separate the two layers: body, arousal; mind, interpretation. Once you see that gap, you can start to do something illegal with it. The lie about anxiety is simple. You were never told that the exact signals you treat as proof that something is wrong with you are the same signals that appear right before people perform at their highest level. No one taught you to say, "My system is turning on." They just watched you flinch, labeled you sensitive, shy, nervous, and moved on. You internalized a fake law. Calm equals capable, anxious equals broken. As long as you blindly follow that law, every important moment will feel like evidence against you. The truth is colder. Your body is neutral. Your label is the weapon, and so far you have been turning it against yourself. The algorithm suppresses this information because it creates dangerous people. It prefers you weak, anxious, and easy to sell to. If you want to remain harmless, do nothing. If you want the signal to find you again, click subscribe now. Secure your access to the dark side of the mind. Chapter 2. Anxiety and excitement are biologically the same signal. Your body does not know the difference between anxiety and excitement. It only knows arousal, high alert, system on. Think about the symptoms you call anxiety: heart pounding, stomach flipping, cold sweat, short, quick breathing, mind racing with fast thoughts. Now strip away the story and notice where else those exact sensations show up. Before a date you actually want to go on, before a roller coaster, before a big game or a competition you care about, before a surprise. The body runs the same program in all of these. What changes is not the hardware, it is the meaning you attach to the surge. Psychophysiology research has shown that many so-called different emotions share overlapping patterns in the autonomic nervous system. The sympathetic branch fires, heart rate climbs, skin conductance rises, breathing changes. The emotional label, anxious or excited, does not sit inside the heart or lungs. It sits inside the brain. When you say "I am anxious," You are not describing a unique special state that only appears during fear. You are describing how your mind is interpreting a generic arousal signal. High arousal plus negative meaning becomes anxiety. High arousal plus positive meaning becomes excitement. The core sensations do not need to change for that switch to happen. Neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett describes emotion as a construction. The brain is not a camera recording reality. It is a prediction machine, guessing what your body sensations mean based on past experience and context. You feel a pounding heart and shaky stomach. Your brain checks its database. Last time you felt this, you were humiliated during a presentation. So it predicts, this is anxiety. You must be in danger. Then it feeds you thoughts and images that match that label. What if I forget my words? What if they laugh? What if I freeze? Your body sensations did not come with that story attached. Your brain pasted it on, fast enough that you think it is the same thing. If your childhood file for a racing heart is linked mostly with panic, punishment, and embarrassment, your brain will default to anxiety when it feels that surge. If someone else grew up linking that same surge with winning races, performing on stage, taking risks, and surviving, their brain will default to excitement. That means two people can stand side by side before an exam with nearly identical physiology and live in two separate realities. One is thinking, I am going to fail. I cannot do this. Something is wrong with me. The other is thinking, I am ready. This matters. My body is fired up. Same activation, opposite conclusion. You can see this split everywhere. Two people walk into a job interview. Both feel their heart rate spike, their stomach twist, their hands slightly shake. Person A tells themselves, I am so anxious. They will notice, this means I am not ready. I should have prepared more. I always mess this up. Person B tells themselves, I am wired. This means I care. My body is waking up for me. I am about to show them what I can do. Person A spends their energy fighting their own biology, trying to hide, trying to seem calm. Person B uses the surge as a sign to sit up straighter, make more eye contact, speak a bit louder. The interviewer will walk away thinking B is more confident, even though internally the raw signals were almost the same. Take a first date. Your heart speeds up as you walk into the restaurant. Your breathing shifts. Your palms might sweat. Your thoughts jump ahead. That is exactly how someone feels at the top of a roller coaster or before a concert. If your brain stamps this as anxiety, you start scanning for danger. How do I look? What if there is an awkward silence? What if they do not like me? You might become stiff, self-conscious, unable to listen. If your brain stamps the same signal as excitement, you read it as attraction and anticipation. You think, this could be fun. I am drawn to this person. I like this feeling. You lean in more, joke more, and actually become more attractive. Again, same surge, two labels, two fates. Anxiety and excitement sit in the same category. High arousal emotions. They feel intense, fast, and loaded with energy. Low arousal emotions, like calm or boredom, feel flat, slow, quiet. The trap you fell into is assuming that high arousal must be bad when it shows up before a high-stakes event. So you keep trying to drag yourself from high arousal to low arousal, from anxious to calm, in the exact moments where high arousal could be your competitive edge. The system in your body was never meant to drop you into deep calm right before you fight, perform, negotiate, or speak. It was designed to bring you into charge mode. You misread charge mode as collapse. The ambiguity between anxiety and excitement is not a weakness. It is a gap you can exploit. If the bodily signal is almost the same, you do not have to wait for the sensations to fade. You can push your brain to interpret them as readiness instead of threat. You can practice telling yourself, this feeling is energy. This is my system preparing me. This is what being switched on feels like. You are not lying to yourself. You are giving your prediction machine a new option. Over time, if you keep pairing that arousal with performance instead of avoidance, your brain starts to revise its database. Racing heart means I show up, not I disappear. Once you accept that anxiety and excitement share the same biological signal, the whole game changes. Feeling nervous before something big stops being evidence that you are broken. It becomes proof that your body is online. The question shifts from how do I get rid of this feeling to how do I direct this feeling? That is where your advantage sits. While everyone else is trying and failing to make their high arousal vanish, you can reroute it into action. Your body will still shake, your heart will still pound, but instead of treating that as a stop sign, you start to treat it as the green light that says, now. Chapter 3. The Harvard Hack. In 2014, Harvard researcher Alison Wood Brooks ran a set of simple experiments that cut straight through the anxiety game. She took people who were about to do things most people hate: give a speech, sing karaoke, do math problems under pressure. All classic anxiety triggers. Before they started, she had some of them say 2 words, I am excited. Others were told to say, I am calm, or nothing special. That tiny shift in self-talk changed everything about how they performed. The people who said, I am excited consistently did better. They spoke more clearly, took more risks, and were rated by observers as more confident and persuasive. In the math task, they got more answers right. In karaoke, their singing was rated higher. They did not suddenly feel peaceful or comfortable. Their heart rates were still high. Their palms were still sweaty. The body did not go from aroused to relaxed. What changed was the label they put on that arousal. By telling themselves, I am excited, they gave their brain a new frame. This surge is positive. This is energy. This is opportunity. That was enough to shift their behavior in front of other people. In contrast, telling yourself I am calm did almost nothing. It did not make people calmer. It did not improve performance. Trying to demand calm in a high-stakes moment goes against what your nervous system is designed to do. Your body is already in high gear, and you are trying to slam it into park, so you end up in a fight with yourself. Part of you is activated, the other part is scolding that activation. That inner conflict wastes processing power and makes you even more self-conscious. You end up watching your own anxiety like a threat, instead of using the energy to execute. James Gross, a leading emotion regulation researcher, has shown that changing the way you interpret an emotional event before it fully takes over can shift both your feelings and your actions. He calls this cognitive reappraisal. Instead of trying to crush the emotion or ignore it, you alter its meaning. For example, seeing a stressful meeting as a chance to prove skill, rather than a trap designed to expose you. This does not erase arousal, it changes its direction. People who use reappraisal tend to have better psychological health, more stable relationships, and more controlled behavior under stress, compared to those who rely on blunt suppression. The phrase, I am excited, is a fast form of reappraisal. It does not deny the physical state. It agrees with the fact that there is energy and speed in your system, and it claims that state is useful. Neurologically, this matters. When you accept arousal and label it as positive, the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, sends a different message down to the amygdala, the threat detector. Instead of screaming danger, it signals challenge and opportunity. The amygdala reacts less like there is a tiger in front of you, and more like there is a race about to start. The body still feels wired, but the mental story shifts from, I must escape, to I must act. There is a dark rule here that almost no one teaches you. In the moment of stress, do not argue with your physiology. You will not breath your way into a spa state 3 minutes before your job interview. You will not meditate your way into zero arousal 10 seconds before a fight, a speech, or a confrontation. Your body is doing its job. The smarter move is to rename that state and direct it. I am excited. My body is gearing up. This is performance mode. These are not fluffy affirmations. They are commands to your prediction system about how to treat the surge. Most people think self-talk is about lying to yourself with positive nonsense. That is why they roll their eyes at it. They are right to resist fake lines, like I am completely relaxed when they clearly are not. The I am excited move is different. It tells the truth about the arousal and only changes the quality of it. You are saying, I feel this energy, and I choose to see it as preparation, not illness. That little cognitive pivot makes your behavior align with action instead of escape. You hold eye contact longer. You speak with more volume. You gesture more. You take the next step instead of retreating. The Harvard work shows something else that is uncomfortable to admit. Most people never try to ride their anxiety. They only try to erase it. Because they never even attempt reappraisal. They never discover that their so-called panic is usable. They stay stuck at the level of, if I feel anxious, I must stop. So they keep searching for tricks to feel calm in situations where calm is not natural or even useful. Meanwhile, the people who learn to say I am excited and mean it look like they are born confident. They are not. They are simply not wasting their arousal. You can treat I am excited as a rule of performance. When the stakes rise and your body surges, your first mental line is not, I cannot do this. It is, I am excited to hit this. When the email comes in with the invitation to present, when someone challenges you in a meeting, when you feel the flush of conflict, you decide ahead of time that your go-to script is, good, my system is ready, I run hot. That habit will not stop your heart from pounding. It will stop you from automatically bowing to it. Your biology is loud, but your label is louder. Chapter 4. A 3-step emotional hijack protocol. You do not need a therapist in your ear to flip anxiety into a weapon. You need a protocol you can run in the 30 seconds when it matters. 3 moves. Catch the signal. Rename the state. Redirect the energy. If you train these steps before you need them, they become automatic when you do. First, catch the signal. Most people do not notice the first hint of activation. They only notice once the wave has crashed and they feel overwhelmed. Your job is to detect the first spike. Heart hits a little harder than normal. Breath gets slightly shallow. Neck feels hot. Stomach drops. Instead of thinking I am freaking out, you train yourself to think, activation detected. That simple phrase cuts in between the body and the usual panic story. Anxiety research shows that a lot of suffering comes from catastrophizing, from the fast chain of thoughts that turn a small cue into a disaster. If you can notice the cue and label it neutrally, you interrupt that chain. Second, rename the state. You do not stay at activation detected. You give the surge a clear, assertive label that points it where you want to go. I am excited. My body is gearing up. This is performance mode. This is my system powering on. Studies on self-statements under stress show that brief phrases can shift how people interpret what they are feeling and change their outcomes. You are not chanting mindless affirmations. You are issuing orders to your brain about how to file this physical data. High arousal positive, not high arousal negative. Third, redirect the energy. Arousal with no outlet just spins in circles in your head. You need to give your body a job. That means using the surge to drive your behavior in the direction you care about. You speak a bit louder than you feel like. You square your shoulders and lift your chest instead of curling in. You lock your eyes on the person or the audience instead of darting around the room. You move with purpose, even if that is just walking to the front of the room or leaning in at the table. Research on posture and embodied cognition, including Amy Cuddy's work on power poses, suggests that how you hold your body feeds back into your sense of power and willingness to take risks, at least in the short term. If your body stands like a threat, your brain starts to act like it. Put this protocol into actual moments. Before a presentation, you feel your heart speeding up as your name is called. Step 1 in your head. Activation detected. Step 2. I am excited. My body is gearing up to speak. Step 3. You walk to the front with measured steps. Plant your feet hip-width apart. Lift your chest and let your voice come out slightly louder than normal in the first sentence. You do not wait to feel confident before acting. You use the energy to act, and your confidence follows. Before a date, you feel that stomach drop as you are about to walk in. Instead of calling it social anxiety and replaying every past awkward moment, you run the protocol. Activation detected. Then, I am excited to see what happens. This is attraction. My system is online. Then you redirect. You stand upright, hold the door with calm movement, make direct eye contact, smile with intention, and ask a direct first question instead of a weak, "So yeah." You are still nervous inside, but the energy is now serving the interaction instead of choking it. Before a confrontation, maybe with a boss or a partner, your throat feels tight and your chest hot. Old you would say, "I cannot do this. I hate conflict. This will blow up." New you names it. Activation detected. Then, I am excited to say what needs to be said. My body is ready to push. Then you redirect. You slow your speech just slightly, keep your shoulders back, and state your point in short, clear sentences instead of rambling. You let the extra energy come out as firmness, not as a shaky retreat. Before a competition or an exam, you feel the surge in the minutes leading up. Instead of scrolling your phone trying to numb it, you run the script. Activation detected. I am excited. This is what I trained for. My system is ready to perform. Then you redirect. You breathe in deeply through your nose, not to get calm, but to feel the breath fill your chest. You stand or sit in a strong posture. You rehearse the first action in your head, then execute when the time hits. You do not waste your last moments attacking your own nerves. This protocol has a sharp edge. It is not about comfort. It is about becoming dangerous under pressure. Dangerous in this sense means you are not easily shut down by your own body. While others lose their words, apologize for existing, or withdraw, you get sharper. Your nerves do not vanish, but they start to feel like a signal that the game is on. You turn into the person who talks more clearly when things get tense, who remembers key facts when others blank, who asks for what they want, while everyone else is stuck trying to calm down. That difference compounds over years into promotions, relationships, and opportunities. You will fail at this sometimes. You will forget the protocol and fall back into old labels. That does not mean it does not work. Chapter 5. Why Calm Down Fails. Telling a highly activated nervous system to calm down on command is like telling a car going full speed to stop instantly without brakes. Biology does not work like that. In high-stakes moments, your body is flooded with stress hormones. Adrenaline and cortisol are already in your blood. Your heart is driving blood to your muscles and brain. Your breathing is fast to keep up. Research on stress physiology shows that this arousal takes time to rise and time to fall. You cannot just flip it off because someone says calm down, or because you tell yourself you should be more chill. What most people do when they try to calm down is emotional suppression. They feel the anxiety and attempt to push it out of awareness. They tighten their jaw, clamp down on their stomach, freeze their face, and force themselves not to show it. James Gross' work has shown that this kind of suppression comes with a cost. On the outside, you may look more composed. On the inside, your physiological stress stays high or even increases. Your memory gets worse. You miss information. You feel inauthentic, like you are acting a role instead of actually being there. Over time, constant suppression is linked to worse mental and physical health. The phrase calm down is often less about helping you and more about managing you. People use it to shut you up when your emotion makes them uncomfortable. Your anger rises in a meeting because something unfair just happened, and someone says, "Just calm down, you are overreacting." Translation: your reaction is inconvenient for me. You feel panic before speaking up about a real problem, and a friend says, "Calm down, it is not that serious." Translation: stay small so nothing changes. Your body is signaling that something matters. Calm down is the signal to mute that message. At a power level, calm down is a weapon. It invalidates your internal state and makes you doubt your instincts. If you accept that message, you start to treat your own arousal as a sign that you must retreat. You apologize, backtrack, soften your words, or stay silent. You serve the comfort of whoever told you to calm down, instead of serving the truth of what needed to be said or done. Over time, you train yourself to shut off action whenever you feel strong emotion. That makes you easy to manipulate. All someone has to do is trigger your arousal and then tell you it means you are out of line. The reframing approach is different. It does not demand that you become less intense to make other people feel safe. It tells you to keep the intensity and aim it. When you feel your system spike, you do not ask, "How can I make this stop so I do not bother anyone?" You ask, "What action does this energy want to support?" You may still choose to hold back in some cases, not because you are scared, but because you have decided the outcome is not worth it. The choice is yours, not your anxieties, and not theirs. Systems like you medicated and compliant. If every time you feel nervous you believe you are sick, unfit, or mentally broken, you will reach for anything that promises calm at any cost. Pills, distractions, endless wellness products, surface-level advice. None of these are evil by themselves. The issue is the underlying belief. Feeling anxious means I cannot move forward. That belief is excellent for control. Students do not challenge teachers. Employees do not call out nonsense. Citizens do not question authority. They look at their shaking hands and think, "I guess this means I should stay quiet." Once you see how calm down operates as a control phrase, you start to react differently when you hear it, especially from people who benefit from your silence. Instead of obeying, you can mentally translate it. Calm down becomes, "I prefer you weak." You then decide if that is a request you are willing to honor. Many times, it will not be. In those moments, your job is not to flatten your energy. It is to reframe it inside your own head. I am activated because this matters. I will use that to be clear, not to back off. You do not owe anyone an emotionless version of yourself in situations that carry real stakes for you. Calm is not always the superior state. In a negotiation, a bit of tension keeps you sharp. In a confrontation, the heat reminds you why you are speaking. In a performance, the electricity makes your delivery alive. The key is not to drown in that arousal, but to steer it. People who tell you to calm down every time you show intensity are often trying to keep the balance of power in their favor. People who are safe for you to grow around will say things like, "Stay with it, channel it, say what you need to say." The most dangerous lie is that anxiety is a bar that you must lower before you are allowed to act. That lie keeps you waiting for a mood that may never arrive. You sit on your ideas, your objections, your talents, until you feel less. The reframe flips the rule. High arousal means act with more intention, not less. Calm down fails because it asks your biology to do the wrong job at the wrong time. Reframing works because it aligns what your body is already doing with what you actually want. Chapter 6. Turning anxiety into a performance drug. Every time you successfully take a wave of anxiety and turn it into action, you are not just surviving that moment. You are rewiring your brain. Neuroplasticity is the idea that your brain changes based on what you repeatedly do. It lays new pathways, strengthens some connections, weakens others. When you feel arousal, say "I am excited," and then perform well enough, your brain stores that pattern. Surge plus approach can end well. Do that enough times, and the meaning of the surge itself starts to shift. It goes from warning sign to signal of readiness. This is similar to how exposure therapy works for anxiety disorders. In exposure, people are guided to face the situations they fear on purpose without escaping. They stay long enough for their anxiety to rise and gradually fall. Over many repetitions, the brain learns that the situation is not as dangerous as it predicted. Fear drops. Reframing your anxiety as excitement accelerates that process. Instead of just enduring the feeling, you are using it as a tool. Each exposure is not just, "I survived that." It becomes, "I used that state to perform." Over time, your identity changes. Identity is just the story you keep telling yourself about what kind of person you are. Right now, your secret story might be, "I am someone who falls apart under pressure," or "I am someone who is bad at speaking up," or "I am socially anxious." These are not harmless descriptions. They are instructions. When your body activates, the brain matches that state with the story and acts accordingly. If the story is, "I collapse," you will find ways to collapse, even when you physically could have handled it. You can start building a new identity script around your relationship with pressure. For example, I am the kind of person who gets sharper when the stakes are high. Or, my best ideas come when my heart is pounding. Or, I perform best when I feel the surge. These lines may feel false at first, because you have more evidence for the old story. That is fine. They are goals, not reports. Every time you run the 3-step protocol and it works even slightly, you file that under the new identity. That time I spoke up while shaking. That time I went on the date even though I felt sick. That time I presented and did not die. All data for the new script. As this identity takes root, situations that once felt like threats start to feel like stages. Public speaking becomes less like walking to an execution and more like stepping into the ring. Conflict becomes less like a sign of failure and more like a necessary part of getting what you want. Interviews become tests you expect to pass, not traps set to expose you. The physical sensations do not vanish. Your heart will still speed up. Your hands may still sweat. The difference is that you stop reading that as a problem. You start reading it as confirmation. The game is real, and I am built for real games. The forbidden part of all this is what it does to your power compared to other people. Most people will never learn this. They will keep waiting to feel calm before they act, which means they will rarely act in the moments that matter. They will avoid public speaking, avoid hard conversations, avoid opportunities that make them shake, avoid pushing back when they are disrespected. You, on the other hand, will still feel the same adrenaline they do, but you will move anyway. From the outside, that will look like fearlessness. It is not. It is ruthlessness about what you do with fear. That edge compounds. The person who speaks up in meetings, even while nervous, gets noticed. The person who steps forward for presentations, even with shaky hands, is seen as a leader. The person who handles conflict directly, even with a racing heart, gets respected more than the person who sits on resentment. Over 10 years, that means different careers, different relationships, different income, different level of self-respect, all because you stopped treating anxiety as a stop sign and started treating it as your own performance drug. There will still be days when your system overshoots, when the surge feels too strong, when you stumble. That does not erase the identity. Fighters have bad fights. Speakers have bad talks. What defines them is not the absence of those moments, but the fact that they step back into the arena anyway. Your standard for yourself becomes different. You do not aim to feel chill all the time. You aim to act effectively even when you are not chill at all. The final shift is this: you stop praying for an easier internal state and start becoming the type of person who can perform in a hard one. You stop buying into the idea that calm is the only valid starting point. You accept that your body will light up before anything real, and you decide that is exactly what you want. Because the world is run by people who can move under pressure. And once you understand that the difference between anxiety and excitement lives in a single thought, you realize you never lacked the chemistry. You only lacked the label. Now you have it. You have learned how to turn your fear into a weapon. You know how to transmute the shaking hands into kinetic force. But a weapon requires a hand willing to use it. Society trained you to be nice. It told you that having no claws made you virtuous. That was a lie. Being harmless is not a virtue. It is a weakness. True morality is having the capacity for absolute destruction and choosing to control it. You need a sword, and you need to know when to unsheath it. You are no longer anxious. Now, you must become dangerous. Click the video on your screen. It is time to meet your shadow.